25-year-old Tiana Notice had been relentlessly stalked by her obsessed ex-boyfriend, James Carter II. Followed everywhere she went, sent threatening texts and emails, hounded by phone, the tires of her car slashed, and a creepy note left pinned to her front door. And up until now, police have failed to do anything to protect her. Despite Carter's repeated violations of a restraining order Tiana had taken out against him. But cops have finally just called him to ask him to come in to give a handwriting sample to see if they can connect him to that note on the door. Now, enraged, he is lurking in the shadows of her apartment complex on Valentine's Day evening and just waiting for her to arrive. Carter viciously stabs Tiana about 20 times, twice in the heart, as she gets to her front door.
I'm bleeding to death!
But somehow, she has the strength to make a 911 call.
Where are you?
I'm bleeding to death!
Stay on the phone with me.
Like 20 times to stab me to death.
Who's there with you?
Neighbors have come to her aid.
Who's there with you?
You're not gonna die. You're not gonna die.
You can hear her fading fast.
All right, stay on the phone with me.
Then she loses consciousness, and Tiana is rushed to the local hospital.
We got to the hospital midnight, and I saw the expression of the receptionist when we identified ourselves, and I saw the look on the surgeon, one of the surgeons that came out to tell us we're gonna find a place to meet.
So we waited.
And then the team of doctors came in. And they told me we did everything we could. We even did hand massage on her heart. But she had lost too much blood and we couldn't revive her and she's gone.
So I went and identified her. She's on the table, looked at her, there were stab wounds everywhere.
Tiana's mom, Kathy, breaks down, reliving that horrible moment all over again.
She didn't make it, and I couldn't. The world just disappeared. I just couldn't. I couldn't grasp it in my soul. I went crazy. I went yelling, screaming. I tore up that room. I was on my knees, crying and pleading with God. I said, how could you allow this to happen, Lord? I was so angry at him. I said, I did what you told me to do. I raised her in your word. I raised a good kid. How could you allow this to happen? I was so mad. I was so mad.
The first thing come to mind is, who did it? Didn't have to think too long because I'm saying, I know who did it.
So did the cops, thanks to Tiana. And ultimately, her dying words would help to identify her attacker.
Like 20 times to stab me to death.
James Carter II is now serving 60 years without parole for the savage slaying of Tiana Notice. But that would never be enough for her parents.
I really wanted to get to the bottom of it. Looking at face value what was going on, I realized that there was a system failure.
And Alvin was determined to fix it so nobody else's child would be murdered like his beloved daughter. And he knew what was needed.
More action from the police, more action from legislators, more action from the courts.
And in the 7 years since Tiana's death, he's gotten that action. Action that has made authorities in Connecticut and other states take the deadly dangers of domestic violence seriously.
And were you successful?
Yes. Very successful.
Through the work of the Tiana Foundation Alvin and Kathy formed, and with the help of the Connecticut Senator May Flexer and Karen Jermuck, a former state legislator and now head of the Connecticut Coalition Against Domestic Violence, laws have been toughened to prevent domestic violence murders.
We started a pilot program for GPS monitoring, which was largely connected to Tiana's tragic murder.
What exactly happens with the GPS monitoring?
So the GPS monitoring is put in place when the judicial system determines that an abuser is very high risk. They look at particularly the issue of lethality and trying to assess whether or not the abuser exhibits the traits that often lead to a murder, frankly.
Like James Carter II.
So through that system, the victim is alerted when the offender is coming within a certain distance of their home, of their workplace, of their family members' homes.
Had James had a GPS on his person, Tiana would have known he was by her house.
And she might still be alive.
Now, following her murder, Tiana's estate filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the officers who handled the complaints against James Carter. Now, a jury agreed with the family, awarding them a $10 million judgment. We did reach out to both police departments for comment on our story. So far, we have not heard back from either of them.